7 days in, the second half of this cycle begins, and it begins with recognition. Not the recognition of what is without, not the recognition of what the five senses report, recognition of the seed, the recognition that what is within is already complete, already real, already carrying its full expression. This is the 7-minute daily focus, day 120 of 365, to focus on the world within from the world without. Today's focus, the law of seed, recognition, and the seed. Pause for a moment. 7 days in, the second half of this cycle begins, and it begins with recognition. Not the recognition of what is without, not the recognition of what the five senses report, recognition of the seed, the recognition that what is within is already complete, already real, already carrying its full expression. This is recognition and the seed. Pause. Recognition is not belief in the ordinary sense. Recognition is not convincing yourself that something is true. Recognition is not affirmation repeated until it feels real. Recognition is the first sense reading what is already complete within, perceiving the seed and confirming it from within, before a single physical sign has appeared, before the condition has changed, before anything without has moved. Pause. This is the distinction that matters. Most people try to believe something into existence. They repeat affirmations. They try to generate feelings of certainty. They attempt to convince themselves. But recognition is different. Recognition is not generating something that is not already there. Recognition is perceiving something that is already there. The seed already holds its complete expression. Recognition simply perceives it, confirms it, and from that confirmation, thinking is directed. Thought is within, effect is without, thinking stands between. Pause for a moment. So how do you recognize the seed? You become still. You direct awareness within. You allow the first sense to perceive what is already there, and in that perceiving, you receive the recognition, the knowing that what is within is complete. The quiet certainty that the seed holds what it holds, not as wishful thinking, not as effort, as recognition, as the natural result of directing awareness toward what is already real. Pause. Recognition and the seed are inseparable. You cannot sustain thinking upon a seed you have not recognized, because thinking follows awareness, and awareness must be directed somewhere. If awareness is directed toward what is without, thinking follows without. If awareness is directed toward the seed within, thinking follows within, and thinking sustained upon the seed develops it. So recognition is not the end. Recognition is the beginning of aligned thinking, the beginning of development, the beginning of expression. Pause. Recognition of the seed changes the quality of your day. When you begin each day with the recognition that what is within is complete, you do not move into the day looking for evidence. You are not checking conditions to see if the seed is developing. You are not monitoring the physical world for signs. You are operating from the recognition that the seed is already real, and that thinking sustained upon it is developing it, and that development is already underway. This is the position of someone who has recognized the seed, and it is a position of stability. Pause for a moment. Consider what recognition of the seed means across a day when what is without speaks, and it will. Recognition holds. Because you recognized the seed this morning, you know what is within, and the report of what is without cannot override what has been recognized within. Conditions may appear unfavorable. Physical evidence may suggest delay or absence, but recognition holds because what was recognized is not the condition. What was recognized is the seed, and the seed is not altered by conditions. So recognition remains steady. Pause. Recognition of the seed also has this practical effect. When recognition is clear, conditions lose their authority, not because you are denying them, but because what has been recognized within is more real to you than what is reported without. The five senses report conditions, but conditions are expression. They are the result of what has already been sustained within. They are not the authority on what is within now. Recognition perceives what is within now, and what is within now is what is developing. And what is developing will express, not what the condition is reporting, what the seed is carrying. This is why recognition held clearly each morning stabilizes the entire day. Pause. There is another quality of recognition worth understanding. Recognition is not louder than the five senses. It does not shout over what is without. It is quiet, precise, certain without noise. And this is why it requires stillness to receive it. Not because it is weak, but because it operates at a frequency deeper than the physical senses. You do not strain to recognize the seed. You become still enough that what is already there can be clearly perceived. And in that quiet perception, recognition is established. And from that established recognition, thinking is aligned. And aligned thinking, sustained upon the seed, develops it. Pause. One more thing about recognition and the seed. Recognition is not something done once and then held indefinitely without renewal. Recognition requires renewal, not because the seed changes, the seed does not change, but because what is without is constantly presenting itself. And a recognition that is not renewed can be displaced by the accumulation of what is without. This is why the daily practice is called the daily focus. Not the weekly focus, not the occasional focus. Daily, because daily recognition renews the alignment of thinking with the seed daily. And that renewed alignment each morning ensures that thinking never drifts far from the seed before being returned. Not doubtfulness, not struggle, not force. You are not pushing the seed, not pressure. You are not trying to make it happen, but steadfastness, focused. Remain aligned with what is within. Do not be moved by what is physically seen, because what is physically seen is always secondary to what is unfolding. Pause. Recognition is also renewable. Every morning you return, you become still, you direct awareness within, and you recognize the seed again, not because it changed overnight. Not because you need to check it, but because recognition renewed each day keeps thinking aligned with the seed throughout the day. And aligned thinking, sustained consistently, is deep development, day by day, session by session, until the seed is fully developed and expression follows. Pause. Recognition of the seed is the practice of these mornings, not just an intellectual exercise, a genuine act of inner perception, directing the first sense toward what is within, allowing it to perceive the completeness of the seed, and receiving that reading as the foundation for the day's thinking. When this is practiced consistently, the quality of thinking changes, the stability of thinking increases, and the development of the seed accelerates, not because you forced it, but because recognition made thinking steady, and steady thinking develops the seed fully. Now, the affirmation for day 120. Pause for a moment. I recognize the seed within. I do not convince myself. I perceive what is already real. The first sense perceives the seed. It perceives its completeness. It confirms what is already there. I do not wait for physical evidence to confirm what the first sense already knows. I direct thinking upon the seed that has been recognized. I sustain it steadily, without interruption, without movement toward what is physically seen. And because recognition is clear, thinking is aligned. And because thinking is aligned, the seed develops. And because it develops, it unfolds. And what unfolds must physically express. Remember, by design, by focus.